Underdog Fantasy is the fastest-growing fantasy app and easiest place to play fantasy sports. Just jump on UnderdogFantasy.com or download the app, draft your team, and that's it. And if drafts aren't your thing, they also have a pick'em game where you can win 20 times your money in a single night. Use promo code RADIO, and Underdog will double your first deposit when you sign up with up to $100 in bonus cash. Deposit $100, get $100 free. That's promo code RADIO. Terms and conditions apply.
The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
This is John Silver, lead recruiter of the Dark Order, and you are listening to All Things Elite.
Welcome to the 148th episode of Social Suplex's podcast about AEW with the proclivity for positivity. Welcome to All Things Elite. My name is Austin Summons, and I am the host of this lovely show. And joining with me, as always, is my good buddy and friend, Floyd Johnson Jr. My man, how are you doing?
Dude, I couldn't be doing much better right now. I mean, as far as I had reason we do a show. I went on another trip to Indianapolis for Squared Circle Expo. Got to hang with my friend Tyler, and got to meet a lot of wrestlers I haven't met before. I had never met JBL. I had a bad picture with the Steiners, so I got that picture over with, and I got to hang with my friend Melody. She's on the Twitter sphere at Blitz Enterprise, if anybody ever wants to follow her. Tyler's at Tball615. But, yeah, I got to hang with them and just have White Castles and then have,
nice.
Just got to kick it, have a few drinks with some friends that I like. Melody, this was me meeting her. I had never met her before. She's actually been on this show before. And we was meeting, and she was good people. She's cool people. Tyler is, I always say Tyler is very much a mirror version, like, of me. And it's so weird because I tell a lot of corny jokes, and I tell like this, and I'm used to just people looking at me weird, and he actually laughs at them. So it's weird because we have the same type of sense of humor. So it's kind of weird being around someone so similar to you. But yeah, had a really good time. I get to tell the coolest story. Squared Circle Expo. It was called The Reckoning. That was the end of the weekend show. There was a match between Fuego del Sol and Shark Boy. And then there was against Heath Slater and Rhino, right? So I've been following Fuego forever. I always meet him wherever he goes. And, I told him my goal is to get a picture with him in all 50 states. I'm just like, every new state, I'm going to get a picture with you. Yeah, so I got a picture with him and whatever. So he's in the ring with Fuego, and it's like, and then they started, someone started chanting, he has kids to Heath. And I just had a thought. I was like, Fuego has more. And I started yelling, Fuego has more. And I literally flipped the crowd from chanting from Heath to chanting for Fuego. Tyler was right next to me. He can attest that this is 100% true. I've never done that before. I'm never a chant starter, but we started a chant that Fuego has more. And Heath Slater, you could see Heath Slater's look, like, because Fuego was getting cheered louder than him. He's like, oh, this kid's actually over. It was just that cool moment. I was so happy for Fuego because, and then literally the rest of the match, it was pretty much Fuego got cheered. And when they finally he got gored and pinned, there was this audible groan because Fuego lost.
Aww.
No, but it was great moment. I was hoping that he could, the Fire Nation, he got a little hype there, and it was okay. Yeah, and that's the first chant in 30 years of going to wrestling shows. That's the first chant I've ever started.
Shout out. And it was a good one at that.
Yeah, and it was just off the cuff, just to reply. It was such a natural experience because you go to wrestling shows and there are people that try to start chants and all that stuff, and they get buried. It was just a natural response, being a smart ass and replying, because Fuego's got 4 or 5 kids. I think he does. I'm not even joking when I say I think he has more kids than Heath Slater. So I was I'm not even joking when I say that. So it was just a cool moment. Fuego, I was really happy that Fuego got over. That was the biggest thing, is that he was over, and I the fact that I had a little to do with it. That was kind of cool too.
Yeah, man, that sounds like it was a really cool moment. And shout out to our boy Fuego. We got nothing but love for Fuego. And it's a shame he couldn't get the win against Rhino and Heath. Which, shout out Detroit, Rhino, love you, boy. But regardless of the fact, though, that sounds like it was a lot of fun. And we want to say quick apologies for our absence. We've been away for a little bit, not too long, but we're kind of behind. We're going to get caught up a little bit after we go through the big news of the week. But we've got Dynamite to talk about this week, and then we've got Rampage and Rampage preview coming up for this weekend. So we got a lot to get to. But before we get into the entire show, we want to make sure you guys are downloading this fine show on Google or Apple Podcasts. And if you listen to us on Spotify or any other podcasting platforms, please give us a share with your friends, family, coworkers, whoever you wish. You can leave a rating and a review, and if you're so inclined, you can leave a donation through our podcast provider, Red Circle. But the easiest way for you guys to support us is by following us on social media. On Twitter, we are at AT Elite Pod, at Social Suplex. Those guys make this show possible. Please check out all the other podcasts that they have on their network. I am at Austin Szumowicz, SZUMOWICZ, and Floyd is at Floyd Johnson Jr. on Twitter. And, of course, the big news of the week for AEW is that the Forbidden Door, the proper noun, the new vernacular of pro wrestling, as Cody Rhodes once said before he went to somewhere else. I don't remember where he went after that. The Forbidden Door is now officially realized and real and tangible, and it is now a thing. Tony Khan on Dynamite this week, he had another big announcement. Oh, what's another big announcement? You just bought Ring of Honor. So what else could you possibly do? Maybe let's bring out the president of New Japan Pro Wrestling onto Dynamite. Adam Cole interrupted and got involved a little bit, and he was the one to break the news about a new show, a new pay-per-view debuting that will be taking place at the United Center. Second time AEW's been at that place. If you forgot what happened the first time at that show in the United Center, my boy debuted there. And the Forbidden Door will be a crossover show between AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling at the United Center that actually takes place the weekend before AEW makes their debut in Detroit. Fucking shit. And after Adam Cole made that announcement, Jay White comes out, talks about a little bit Bullet Club for Life stuff, and yeah, that was fucking huge. So I mean, this is massive. It's huge. There was rumors for a little bit of while. I know some people going through Twitter and saying that WWE was actually going to be having a partnership with New Japan. And then this show just gets announced, and it's just holy shit. And also, considering from the beginning of AEW's inception, back before the first Double or Nothing pay-per-view, and how the reports were going around that New Japan apparently wanted nothing to do with AEW and wanted to have no partnership, and talks of working together kind of fell through. Now that we have a crossover show with AEW and New Japan, as a wrestling fan, you can't not be excited for this. This is going to be insane, and I will say it right now. If this show doesn't give me CM Punk versus Kenta, GTS versus GTS, I'm no longer an AEW fan, and I'm no longer a New Japan fan. I will go watch fucking GCW for the rest of my life. I don't care, because if you don't book that match, I'm done. But Floyd, thoughts on the Forbidden Door show?
Finally, after 3 years of doing this show, I started doing this show in February of 2019. One of the first few shows before they had anything to talk about, I booked, on one of the first few episodes, I booked my AEW versus New Japan Dream Show on one of these episodes. Can't tell you which one. It was one of the super early episodes. We did a fantasy booking of AEW versus New Japan. And when I say that this is like every time there was a major announcement, it would be what I heard rumors of, and then it would be like, oh, they're going to announce an AEW versus New Japan show. I think I've done it even a few times since you've come onto the show. They're going to do an AEW versus New Japan show. That's what I want it to be.
Well, I mean, that was my mind going into the announcement, like, because I was like, again, they already bought Ring of Honor, so like, if another big announcement has to do with like the changing of the wrestling foundation and the fabric of wrestling at this point in time, I was like, it's got to be at least something with New Japan. I don't know if it would be, like I said, I didn't know if it was going to be like a pay-per-view event or if it was just going to be a one-time show that was going to be on TV. I didn't know where it would even take place if it did happen. But the fact that they're going back to the United Center, because again, big, like fucking that first dance show that they did, oh, that was a move. That was a power move for them to do. And to hit it up again, and this time it's going to be their first collaborative show with New Japan. I mean, it makes sense because now that they own Ring of Honor, which New Japan's main U.S. collaborator and main U.S. partner was Ring of Honor for the Supercard of Honors. So, it makes sense that they would do something like that. I mean, the G1 Supercards is what I meant to say. So it makes sense that this would be something that they would do now that AEW owns Ring of Honor, or that Tony owns Ring of Honor. But I'm just glad we finally got this, because again, like back when they fucking had the goddamn first announcement at fucking Jacksonville, where Jericho showed up and debuted, and then we had the announcement of like just the whole announcement with the cheerleaders and from Jacksonville, and there were fireworks out of TIAA Bank Stadium, like I was like, please let New Japan and AEW do stuff together. And then like years and years we had teases of like Kenta showing up and some other people going through the Forbidden Door, like Ishii and all that. And now we got a full on show. Yes,
I have been begging for Okada to show up in AEW for like the birth of AEW. So I'm thinking that might actually happen now. This is a dream come true for me. If you follow me on Twitter. Huh?
Go ahead.
Yeah. If you follow me on Twitter, 7 minutes after that announcement was made, I had bought my plane ticket. 7 minutes.
And here's the best part about for us. Cindy's graduation is a day after the tickets go on sale. So guess what Cindy's asking for a present for graduation?
Yes.
And she's probably going to get it, and she'll take me along because she's a nice sister.
Yeah, and that's so funny because it's going to be like, we'll be together Sunday. I'll fly home.
And then we'll be back again together Wednesday when you fly to Detroit.
When I fly to Detroit. It is literally, it has made the month of June the craziest month.
And that's the thing, too. That Detroit show is going to be the aftermath of that show.
Yes, we're going to get to see what happens at the end of that show, what is the fallout from that show. Even crazier, I'm doing like a FTR road trip in June. It's like, my June is as packed as I've ever done a trip. My wife's like, are you going to be able to do it all? I was like, I'm going to do it or die trying. We're going to figure this out. But yes, AEW versus New Japan, if you know me, you know what this meant to me. When someone asked me, was I going, and I felt I was damn real insulted. I'm like, are you asking me? Floyd Johnson, is he going to the AEW New Japan show that I've been talking about since the first episode of All Things Elite. Sure. I'm going to be
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm going to be there. And it's like, not only did I pull that off my friend Tyler, who I was just talking about, so me and his birthday are 5 days apart. I'm June 10th. He's June 15th. I was like, hey, are you going to be able to go? I'll pay for you because that's your birthday present, blah, blah, blah. He's like, my wife's not going to let me. So I messaged her, and I was like, just directly like, hey, I need my boy there. And he had said she's going to say no. And she did. She told me no. And I was like, oh, okay. Because I think I'm pretty charming and nice. I think I can talk people into stuff. She shut me down. An hour later, he calls and says, she said I can go. Dude. All right. Dude, everything's just rosy, thumbs up. My wife looked at me. She's like, you're not going, are you? I was like, and then I explained to her what it was. And she's like, oh, yeah, you're going. She even said it. She's like, because she didn't really, she's not a big wrestling fan. She is what people call the casual audience. So she didn't understand what it meant. And then I told her what it meant, and she was like, oh, you're going. She was like, yeah, it wasn't exactly. It was just like she knew. Everyone that is anywhere near me knows how much this means to me personally and just what it means for professional wrestling in general. I'm not going to talk all day about this, but this is huge for professional wrestling. If you talk about the top 3 wrestling companies in the country, you're talking WWE 1, clear number 1 with the canon because you go by money. AEW number 2, and New Japan is the top international brand. So you literally have 2 of the top 3 biggest companies in the world putting on a dual show in the United Center. It's going to be, 20,000 people there. The last time that was there, it looks like the United Center is going to be their huge event. Every pay-per-view is a big event. But CM Punk coming back was the first huge event in AEW history. It was huge. I mean, literally, they didn't tell anybody what it was, and it sold out. And the next huge event, which is, again, let's do the United States again, probably going to be 18,000 people. I'll tell you right now, it's going to sell out. I'd say in less than an hour.
Oh, my God, yeah.
In less than an hour. Everybody's coming in. And for the people, I do have to address one group of people out there, beautiful people out there. I know you want shows close to you. I do. I know you want shows close to you. But Chicago, Tony Khan made it clear that Chicago's a hub for AEW. It is home. It is MSG. It is for WWE. I know Jacksonville had to be that because of COVID, but he has said Chicago is their home field. That's the only, I believe, city that they've literally ran shows in 3 different arenas. Chicago's where it's at. So I know you'll probably get tired of going to Chicago. Me personally, I don't even live in Chicago, but it's nice and centrally located for me. And
I'm never tired of going to Chicago.
It's easy for me to get to. Has great food, easy to get around. I'm a Chicago guy. I'm just like, and they're just like, well, since they're getting this, maybe somebody else should get All Out. All Out is going to be in the Now Arena, hopefully in Chicago or, Schaumburg, and just leave it alone. Leave it alone. Let Chicago be. You know why they put it in Chicago? It is centrally located. Like New York, you only got to go to Chicago. LA, you only got to go to Chicago. Chicago is very centrally located. It's a major hub of travel. And number 2, they always sell well at big events. Every big event sells out. So it's like, are you saying AEW should be tired of making money? Is that what you're saying? Because they seem to have a system that works for them. So I'm like, hey, don't break it, But maybe I'm wrong.
Might as well.
Am I wrong? I mean, I know Chicago's like I said, it's pretty convenient for me. But I don't.
It is for me as well.
I don't. Who is it not convenient for though? It's so centrally located. It's like,
I get that you want to see shows all over the place. I mean, hell, WWE just announced they're doing a show in fucking Wales, so they're finally gonna have a pay-per-view in the UK again. That's massive. People want shows close by to where they are because it's hard for. There's so many places that they go all the time, but people want these big events. That's the thing. It's cool when they have a Dynamite and stuff like that, or a Rampage show up in your town or whatnot. That's always cool. Like I'm happy we finally got Detroit, and that took fucking almost 3 years. But people want the big pay-per-views, and it's harder for AEW because they don't run as many big shows.
Yeah,
like you've got Double or Nothing, you've got Revolution, you've got All Out, you've got Full Gear.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing for me, and I can honestly say I do try to take other people in advance. The thing is, I know I'm never getting a big show in my state. I know that's not happening. I live in Oklahoma. I'm going to have to travel somewhere no matter what. I have been to over 30 AEW shows, and guess how many shows have I been to in my same state? 0. So it's like,
boom.
It's like really, really easy for me to be like, oh, I mean, like, oh, you're not getting a show close to where you're at. Cool. I mean, I never get a show close to where I'm at. So it's like, I don't know. I don't think about it, but I can't, I mean, some people that help me see that they're, that other people, it's different. They do get stuff in Chicago. I mean, in New York and Florida. And I was like, but yeah, it doesn't seem like people don't say Florida again, but they do say Chicago again. And I don't get it.
Yeah. Well, I'll say last thing we'll put on this Forbidden Door show. I said the match that I want booked, like the one match that has to be booked, which is CM Punk versus Kenta. Your one match that you want booked between an AEW and a New Japan wrestler, current member. Like, what do you want on this show? One match that you need on this show.
Ain't nobody realer than Gorilla against FTR. That's it. God.
Ooh.
That's the match for me. That's the match for me. That's been the match for me.
I'm fucked, dude. I don't know who to cheer.
Yeah, the most decorated tag team in New Japan history against, 6-star FTR. So I mean, that's the match.
Can Kushida show up now that he's free?
Huh? Oh, yeah.
Can Kushida go back to being in the Time Splitters now that he's free?
He could, and I'm hoping I can get to Time Splitters versus FTR at some point. No, I'm very excited about the matchups. It's so weird for me. People are like, who do you want Okada? I mean, Hangman. That's, to me, that's it. It's got to be Hangman. They are kind of the aces of the company. I mean, if you can't get Okada versus Omega. I mean, I would love Okada versus Omega.
My God.
I think the thing sells
Omega
out.
Okada 5?
Yeah, Omega Okada 5. I think the thing sells out in 15 minutes if that's the main event.
Literally, it's over.
It's like I would just take the first tickets I got so I could make sure I got in the building for it.
Yeah, you're not gonna get close. You just got to take what you can find.
Yeah, so I mean, that's the dream match, but Kenny, I don't know it's 100%, and so that being said, I would say Hangman versus Okada. I would love to see, and I don't know how this is going to work. I would love for this to be a yearly June thing that happens, and guess what? If you do it yearly and you do it in June, you can move the bitch around. Move it to different cities and sell out Madison Square Garden. Or do whatever you want to do, but I mean, it's just so much possibilities for matchups, and this is good for professional wrestling. Does the casual fan understand what this means? Probably not. Floyd in 2015 wouldn't have understood what this meant. It would have just been a show. But AEW is catering to their hardcore fans. But you know what happens when you cater to your hardcore fans? And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Your hardcore fans then call their friends that have kind of fell off. And we say, dude, there's this big show coming, June 26th, Sunday, June 26th. You should check it out. And then we talk about
and for a company that's only like 3 years old, you have to do that, because if you try to focus more on casuals, you're gonna lose the hardcore fans that you already got.
Yeah, and it's just like
that's fragile because you're still in your infancy.
Absolutely, and it's just like I said, you worry about your fans, and your fans will go make other fans. They will make other fans with their energy. When I wear AEW hoodies, shirts, and hats pretty much everywhere I go, right? Do you know, like, the first time I wore an AEW shirt, no one said anything, right? The 20th time, I got hit up twice. Now, literally, every time I go out in my AEW stuff, whether it's Target, Walmart, to the movies, someone says to me, like, good job watching AEW. You don't have to give me numbers to show growth. That's the growth I see on the ground level.
And even if you want numbers to see growth, it's showing growth.
If you at WrestleNomics, they are part of the Voices of Wrestling. Brandon Thurston, he does at Brandon Thurston on Twitter. He does a great job of breaking down the economics of wrestling, and he put out a chart. And it is showing steady growth in AEW. AEW's brand is growing, and it's just like, I don't know. People that don't want to hear it are not going to hear it because it's not exploding and it's not everywhere. But, you know, when you're a startup company, you just want steady growth. And so I'm really liking what this does. I just think it's going to create a buzz through the wrestling world. You know, hardcores are going to tell casuals. Casuals are going to put it on with their wives or people that don't watch. And, dude, if out of this pay-per-view 1,000 new fans come, then it's worth it. I mean, and I like I said, I very much am going to be tooting the horn and putting this on all my socials so everyone knows how to order it. Everyone knows how to watch it. Every person I know has a place to watch it.
Yes. But now, moving off of the Forbidden Door show, we're going to talk really, really quickly about some of the highlights or some of the big moments that we've missed in, like, the week off that we had. So I'll go through real quick. First off, that Jon Moxley-Wheeler Yuta match that officially got Wheeler Yuta to be in the BCC, in the Blackpool Combat Club. Holy shit. I mean, there you go. You have to, like, if you're gonna have a star-making moment, most of the time you're gonna get the shit kicked out of you and you're gonna have a crimson mask, but god damn it, you're gonna become a star for it. And Wheeler Yuta being in the Blackpool Combat Club is great. I think now when they eventually come around to hopefully getting a trios championship out there, there's one of your favorites. Like, that's not the Undisputed Elite or anything like that. Like, I mean, they are one of the favorites to take that, or the House of Black. There's so many great trios that could go for those types of belts, dude. It's unreal. It's unreal.
Yeah, dude. The match, I will honestly say, a small critique. I thought it was actually too bloody.
My only critique is the fact that I thought they had one or two too many false finishes, especially at the end when he kicked out of the extra paradigm shift and then the elevated paradigm shift, and then they put him in the bulldog choke and he passed out. I'm like, if he's gonna just pass out, then don't do the elevated or just do that and then go into that if he's already gonna kick out.
Absolutely,
like that was my only critique.
Absolutely. It was a lot of blood. And it's just like, I don't care about a casual fan. It's just, to me, it was just like, I don't think I paid attention to a lot of the other parts of the match because he was so covered in blood. I was worried for his health. It was a lot of blood. He Dustin Rhodes that bitch. He really, really did. And this was on a Rampage? Oh my
This was on Rampage.
Yeah, it's like, no, I thought it was perfect. I thought Wheeler Yuta, and it's funny because my first introduction to Wheeler Yuta on the Indies, he was always a big deal. Then he came to AEW, and I'd say he was losing all the time, and I was just like, I never got to see Wheeler Yuta be Wheeler Yuta. And this match, like the Bryan Danielson match previously, and this match, this is who Wheeler Yuta. This is how the Wheeler Yuta I was introduced to. So I am very impressed with him. I love him in the group. I love the young boy transformation. It was almost like he went on an excursion without ever leaving the show because he is a completely different presentation now. This week he debuted new gear. But the whole writing BCC in blood on his chest, oh my God, chef's kiss. I am one of those people. I love the tiny details of wrestling that the nerds talk about because I am a nerd, and that was just fucking epic.
Yes. Then over to the Dynamite from last week. Of course, we got it. My boy CM Punk had a great match with Penta Oscuro. Oh, that was a match I never thought I would ever see in my life. That was great. I just have to gush over that. Then Minoru Suzuki versus Samoa Joe for the Ring of Honor World TV Championship. Great match. That finished, though, and I know people were probably waiting on us to talk about that. We got to mention it, though. I mean, Floyd, do you want to get into the finish of that Dynamite in that New Orleans show that was pretty much great top to bottom, and then...
Just don't turn out the lights. It's fine. Just have him walk from the back.
Just don't do it.
Yeah.
You made the same mistake as the Dark Order.
Yeah, just, like, have him walk from the back. He's so physically imposing. Have Jonathan Gresham do the shocked look face, like, oh my God, I can't believe this giant's coming to the ring. Same moment, same everything. Just don't turn out the lights. And the only other thing I would say, don't announce an overrun. And turn out the lights. I was expecting Cesaro. I was expecting another name. Maybe Kenny Omega came. No, I wasn't. I really wasn't expecting that. But I was expecting something other than him. And the idea of him, he brings something to AEW that they don't have, the whole true giant thing. Like I said, I just think he could have debuted better. I was not as hot as other people around, but it was a wet fart. It was a miss. I mean, that's just me being 100% putting down my AEW.
I was just stunned they did. I was just stunned they made the same mistake twice. I mean, like, of course, it was the same mistake over the span of like 3 years because the Dark Order debut happened at the first Double or Nothing, and I was there live. It was bad. It didn't go over well, but they rebounded nicely. They really did, the Dark Order. And I'm hoping the same thing. The same thing happens.
When he came out like a week later, he looked so dominant and so impressive, and I like it. And I know some people are like, I made the joke in my group, and I called him the Greater Khali, right? And everybody was like, well, he's Indian and he's tall. He doesn't have to be the Great Khali. He literally used a vice grip.
Yeah.
He literally used Great Khali's move. If he was a white guy from Texas and he threw out a claw, I'd say, oh, he's a Von Erich. It's not just because he's Indian. It's just... No, there was more to it. There was levels to this shit. But again, I'm glad. I wish him the best. He's obviously an AEW project. I guess he trained somewhere else, and then he trained with the Nightmare Factory. And you know what? I'm rooting. I mean, if you train with the Nightmare Factory, I'm a fan. I mean, I haven't. There is no. I show no. I'm not pretending to be unbiased. I am completely biased if you're trained in the Nightmare Factory. I'm rooting for you. I'm buying your shit. I am rooting for you at shows. But with him, so I want him to succeed. But putting my AEW flag down, it was a miss. I mean,
and again, I'm hoping I'm hoping Satnam Singh can really turn it around. Like I said, it is a different type of wrestler that AEW doesn't have that can be successful. And him being paired with Samoa Joe as one of his first feuds, and then him also being having Jay Lethal by his side and Sanjay Dutt, who should help as well with Jay Lethal, this can be good, but the way they debuted it was an absolute total. It was a total swing and a miss. Not even a foul tip. It was a swing and a miss. But the last thing, of course, that we missed from the week of AEW was the AEW World Championship Texas Death Match between Hangman Page and Adam Cole on Rampage, which started early because of, I believe, NBA playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. Great match. Anybody that's over here being like barbed wire crown on Good Friday, stop it.
His move lands you on the top of your head. So he put the thing on the top of his head. So
and the spot, the thing barely even went around his head. And also, if you're like, I'm so offended, it's fucking fake. Let it go. Like, oh my God, like people, like seeing the outrage, and even people I love, Eric Bischoff, I love Eric, being like, responding to Sean Ross Sapp, you think this is funny? Mr. Controversy creates cash. I know you ain't talking right now. Like, stop it. Stop it. The match was really good. It was a good Texas death match. Liked the finish of the Deadeye through the table, and I liked how they like turned what Hangman used to win his last Texas death match, like the buckshot lariat with the barbed wire around his wrist. Cole saw that coming, so Hangman had to do something to change it up with the barbed wire instead of just having it around his wrist and having it around his forearm. So I thought that was clever. Like, again, chill the fuck out. If you want to criticize AEW for anything, like legitimate reasons, there is plenty for you to choose from. Every time you reach, you give the people that are all like AEW can do nothing wrong, you give them more fuel. There's a way to have genuine talks and critiques about both sides of wrestling, if we're going to even call it both sides with AEW and WWE, because again, there's way more wrestling than just those two companies. There's a way to have a genuine conversation about this. For you to reach like this, you're being ridiculous and you're doing nothing but hurting the conversation around wrestling, and you make it more toxic.
Hey, wrestling's violent. It's scripted violence. I mean, and the people are going to do violence in a way that, you know, you're not used to or whatever. And it's just like, if that's not for you, that's not for you. And that's fine.
That's fine.
Dude, I've been watching this my whole life, and you don't understand how many of my friends, you know, I've introduced to wrestling, and it's just not for them. I don't hate them. I don't understand. It's just not for them. It's some people don't like it because it's not real. Some people don't like it because it is violence, but it's violence. That was just violence. He was turning it up. They had a blood feud. They didn't like each other. Cole's like, I'm never going to start coming at you. Hangman has to do something to make this man stop coming. I think if you wrapped barbed wire around my head and then dropped me on my head, I believe through a table, right?
Yes, through a table.
Through a table, I might stop coming at you in the fictional world of professional wrestling. But most importantly, it isn't real. Even if they did it as a crown of thorns, I want to go, like, if your worst thought was they did it as a crown of thorns, so the fuck what? I mean, do you watch Law and Order or SVU that comes on sometimes before your favorite USA program? They talk about way worse, and they pretend to do way worse shit on there than pretend fighting. Calm down.
Yeah, and also, I've seen crucifixions on wrestling as well, not just WWE. Let's never forget that ECW crucifixion. Yeah, that shit was fucked.
We almost never got Kurt Angle wrestling because of an ECW crucifixion.
And then, of course, lest we forget, Shawn Michaels tag teaming with God himself.
Yes, wearing all white.
Hell, let's not even mention CM Punk and his Charles Manson-like false God gimmick that he had with the SES. Dude. He was getting all kinds of, like, Southern Baptists all fucking, like, out of whack.
We can do this all day. We could do this all day with wrestling. And honestly, that wouldn't even crack the top 50 worst things that I've seen in wrestling play out. Not even the top, probably not the top 100, but I know I can do 50 off the top of my head. We don't got time for that shit, but I can definitely do 50 off the top of my head. I grew up in the Mid-South area. Way worse. The Southern, like having matches for women, you know, like for the rights to women. I could do this all day. This is kind of what professional wrestling is. I ain't dig it. Don't dig it. It sucks. Whatever.
Yeah, but just stop reaching. Like, if you want to make criticisms, make criticisms. Stop reaching for things that aren't there. That's all I gotta say. But we've talked about stuff that has already happened. Let's talk about the more recent stuff. Dynamite from this Wednesday that just happened a couple days ago, taking place in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We opened up the show once again with my boy CM Punk continuing to build up wins on his record, trying to make himself the #1 contender for the AEW World Championship, and he faced off against the natural Dustin Rhodes. And my God, I cannot believe I'm saying this, but Dustin is so good and so beloved. They got people to boo CM Punk. Like, Dustin is such a genuine babyface, such a genuine, like, just great soul, great wrestler, like a legend in this industry that he just by selling and just by taking the damage that Punk was dishing to his left leg, got the fans to boo CM Punk. Like, you watch that match back, they were booing him. I heard boos. Because I pay attention to stuff like that. If people boo CM Punk, there better be a good reason. And you know what? Dustin honestly gave them a good reason. This was another classic sense of like selling. Like, Punk was selling the arm, and then Dustin was selling the leg. These guys moved a very slow match and very technical, very focused in on like I said, focusing on a body part and really working it and really just grinding that opponent down so they can't do what they're normally able to do. And it got multiple "this is awesome" chants. There weren't like crazy amounts of high spots or flippy shit or anything like that. This proves that like AEW fans enjoy also seeing like technical storytelling wrestling. And yeah, there wasn't a story necessary for this, but like Dustin's been on this last run, and he's really been trying to get all these dream matches and all these final goes to show that he can still do this better than anybody else. And I got nothing but respect for Dustin. Dustin was outstanding in this match. Punk was great as always. I was glad that they like the great counter between Dustin getting rolled up after failing to hold on to the GTS because of his arm, and was able to still make the counter for the cradle to get the pin was great. The way they embraced afterwards like was really, really a nice touch. And then for the first time, AEW World Champion Hangman Adam Page and CM Punk faced off and had a stare down, and I shit myself. Oh, I want it. Let it be at Double or Nothing, please. Please. I need that. I've gushed enough. Floyd, thoughts on this opening match with Punk and Dustin?
Okay, so the year of 2022 is going to be you're gonna have to have a subtitle as in AEW, the love letter to the Hart family. I mean, the Owen Hart Foundation. Later in this match, what did Brett come out in? What did Punk come out in? Pink and black.
He came out in black and pink gear.
Dax called it out pretty immediately. They had the match, and if you go look, they literally did spots from when Brett wrestled Goldust. Somebody clipped where they took spots where they were literal CM Punk doing Bret Hart spots in the match that he did with the same guy, Goldust. And Dustin Rhodes is still on he's a phenomenal professional wrestler. They called him the Natural. I mean, like, people not related to Dusty, like he was like the most natural moving athletic wrestler they had ever seen at that age. And he's 50 and it's still there. And the match was kind of clunky and stuff, but it was very much 80s old school professional wrestling. I know
yes.
in 2020, 2010, everything's supposed to be looking smooth and crisp, but this is what I was used to professional wrestling looking like. Not everything looked clean. Not everything looked pretty. It looked like a fight as much as professional wrestling could look like a fight. And then they did the Brett Davey Boy Smith finish. It was beautiful.
Yes.
It was a beautiful, well-told match. And whenever somebody's like, this match has no stakes, this match blah, 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 one guy wants to beat the other guy. It's the story of every wrestling match. You can add whatever you want to. Hey, you slept with my wife. Hey, you work for me and don't want to work there anymore. You can put a title on the line. But every wrestling match has the story that guy A wants to beat guy B. Or, excuse me, for my people out there, person A wants to be person B. That's the story of professional wrestling. So when you say there's no story, Dustin wanted to be Punk. Punk wanted to be Dustin. That's the story. And
again, Punk has been doing the I'm going for a championship. I'm ranking up to become a number one contender for the championship. He's motioned at his waist every single match that he's wrestled since he beat MJF.
Dustin did a beautiful promo on Twitter and said how this was a dream match of his. And it's just like, that sold me on it. But I'm a nerd. I'm like, but the fact is, guy A wants to be guy B. Person A wants to be person B. That is wrestling. This was a beautifully told story. Even though I knew who was going to win, they had me a couple times on the false finishes.
Oh, yeah.
I expected CM Punk to take a crossroads eventually in AEW. I did not expect it to be from Dustin Rhodes. I did not expect it to be from Dustin Rhodes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was a great match. Probably the closest thing I'm probably going to ever get to Punk versus Cody. Because,
yeah. Shame we couldn't have gotten it at least before you left, but it is what it is.
Hey, you know what? I think as much as I wanted it, this match was really, really, really special. It really was. It's like one of those moments where I just want to tell him, I'm like, dude, you took me back. I occasionally have those moments. Well, you took me back to 1988, Saturday night, watching a match. This is probably more of like a Clash of the Champions main event. And, back then in the title matches, no one ever won with their finisher. It just didn't happen. You rolled somebody up, and the roll-up was perfect. It was beautiful. The match was great. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop now talking about that.
Yeah. Then we had backstage footage of Wardlow coming into the arena, and he had gotten a match booked by MJF. So he's like, you know what? You are going to actually wrestle, and you're going to wrestle the Butcher. However, Mark Sterling was there to greet him with AEW security and said he had to be handcuffed and escorted to his dressing room until it was time for his match. And the moment his match was over, he would be escorted out of the building. Which, Sam, Bubba, my boy, Security Sam, why the fuck you going along with this?
Sam has.
I understand you're head of AEW security, but like, why are you going along with this?
Sam has a job to do. He is a professional. He does what he is paid to do, and he.
But he has a conscience. He's a good man. I know he is. He's better than this.
He has a good man. Hey, Sam did not make Wardlow sign the contract. Sam is just enforcing the rules, sir. That's all he's doing, and it's so funny. It's so cool. I mean, like to see him on TV.
Legit. Anytime I see him, I smile.
Yeah, it's just kind of cool to see him on TV. He's a dude. I told him at the Ring of Honor thing, and I might have said this week before. I told him I feel safe when I know you're here because I know you got this shit on lock. And nobody's getting anywhere when Sam is in the building. So I know he has it.
Not even close.
Yeah, so it's just like So yeah. He would take Wardlow down for real. If it came down to
he probably honestly
yeah, he would take Wardlow down.
Love Wardlow, but
you look at them, you kind of forget how big Sam is.
He's huge.
He stood next to Wardlow, and it's like, fuck, you're a big dude.
He's big.
Like Wardlow's huge, but Sam's right there. He's like right there. It's like, just in case you thought security be playing around. There's some big old boys on that security group. Just know that. No, but that was kind of cool. I just said, Wardlow, the more things that come out of this contract, I would say, Wardlow, you were either the dumbest man on the planet or you were poorer than you were Poe. You couldn't afford the O and the R because only somebody that broke would sign a contract this dumb. This is the worst contract I've ever heard. You're basically a slave. You're a paid slave. It's like
yeah.
It's like I don't know how this works. He controls everything you do. It sounds like you can't shit unless MJF gives you permission. It's like I get to book your matches. I get to make the stipulations. I'm like, damn. Like, and TK, why would you let this happen in your company? It's like,
is there going to be a little bit of like, come on, man?
Like, no, but no, it's comical because this is professional wrestling. Like, this couldn't happen in real life. No one would sign a contract that's bad. But in professional wrestling world, you do. And, and he has to find a way out of it. And, most people find a way out of it in courts. But in professional wrestling, no, you find a way out of it in the ring. And that's what it's leading to. And this match was some big, meaty men bumping meat. I loved it. I would have liked it to be about 5 minutes longer, personally. Just because I just love
fair enough, yeah.
It's just like that's a personal preference. If someone
that's for the match with Butcher, that's the match with Butcher that actually happened.
Yeah, if somebody said, "Hey, this match was perfect," I wouldn't argue. I would have liked just a little because they were physical, but I felt like the physicality could have got turned up like 7%, not even 10%, like 7% turned up to physicality. I think they've been doing a good job over the last month presenting the Butcher as a threat, and this match was like, he's not really a threat. You know what I mean? And I would have liked to see him be more of a threat now. But I thought it was a really good match. The Powerbomb Symphony is one of the most over, if not most over things in AEW right now.
It really is. Trios match between the Blackpool Combat Club in full against Dante Martin, Lee Moriarty, and Brock Anderson with Arn Anderson at their side. This was just a continuation of the Blackpool Combat Club wreaking havoc in any trios match that you put them in. Like, listen, Dante Martin, Lee Moriarty, and Brock Anderson all are very good. They are not a trios team. And Dante is good in a tag team situation, but he didn't even have his own tag team partner in there. He had Lee in there, which...
Let's make a toast to doing more this spring. Actually, let's make two. Introducing two delicious new toasts from Dunkin'. Hummus and roasted tomato and avocado and roasted tomato. Spring it on with creamy hummus or savory avocado spread on sourdough bread topped with slow-roasted, perfectly seasoned vine-ripe tomatoes. Actually, let's make a third toast to the two toasts I was just talking about. Here's to you two, tasty tomato top toasts. America runs on Dunkin'. Participation may vary. Limited time offer.
Underdog Fantasy is the fastest-growing fantasy app and easiest place to play fantasy sports. Just jump on UnderdogFantasy.com or download the app, draft your team, and that's it. And if drafts aren't your thing, they also have a pick'em game where you can win 20 times your money in a single night. Use promo code RADIO, and Underdog will double your first deposit when you sign up with up to $100 in bonus cash. Deposit $100, get $100 free. That's promo code RADIO. Terms and conditions apply.
He was familiar with, but Brock Anderson and Dante have never tagged together, and Brock hasn't wrestled in a very long time. So this was pretty much a rout for the Blackpool Combat Club. And it was cool just seeing them all together and just wreaking havoc. And again, these guys are all over as hell. So this was a nice little filler match, I think.
This is the closest. I won't call this a squash match. This was a squish match.
Squish.
Yeah, the reason I say that is because, it was clear who was going to win. They did dominate the most of the match, but they did everything they could to make the other three look as good as possible. They all got their shine.
Yeah, Dante getting a bunch of high spots.
Yeah, Moriarty looking explosive, like, he could end up being the next member of the Blackpool Combat Club. And then Brock is Brock. Brock's the young boy right now. If it's like,
yes.
No, I want to tell everybody, it's like when everybody's like looking at Brock and they're like, he's not what I think he is. If you watch New Japan, he's like Yuri Uemura. He's like the dudes that wear all black. He's not supposed to be anything yet. He is learning by experience, by getting beat up. because I don't think he knows who Brock Anderson is yet. I really don't. I mean,
no.
I don't think, as far as in his performance, I don't think he knows who Brock Anderson is. I think he'll get there, and I think he'll be great in 3 to 5 years. But that's what I'm talking about. We're talking about 3 to 5 years. He is a guy that wrestled his first match in, on Dynamite with Cody in his corner. This guy's not like a seasoned veteran. And that was the one thing that I can say about old school wrestling. You were allowed to not be great, or as I say, you were allowed to suck, but you were sucking in front of 20 people that maybe never see you again. And then by the time you got presented to the world, you were good, And Brock doesn't suck. He's actually pretty decent, but he's not where he's going to be yet. And he's got the world against him. And because the only reason I say this is because I was watching with someone and they basically said, he was clearly the weakest person in this match. And I'm like, he's supposed to be. I mean, the dude's been wrestling a year. It's like everybody else in there has more experience than him. And, he's going to develop who he is. But I did love the match. Thought it was brilliant when they were all three in the ring hitting the elbows, and then they finished them, and then Mox finished the match. I thought that was great. Lord Regal is a perfect catalyst for the violence that they're dishing out.
Yeah. And of course, we had after this the Undisputed Elite in the backstage area. Young Bucks don't seem like they in this, and they're not even dressed up flamboyantly or anything like that. So it looks like maybe we might be seeing a possible flip to them being babyface. Maybe, I don't know.
I think what's the story is that their spirit's broken because they've lost to the young because they lost to FTR again. Yeah, like they talked all that shit about they're the best tag team, they're the second, and then they lost, and it's like, oh. We don't lose when we try, and we tried, and we lost. How does that work? And
and I mean, this is their company.
Again, AEW in their 3 years have been perfect. There's some things that they are not great at, but they are perfect at telling the lost confidence storylines. Perfect at it. And that's what it looks like it is that the Bucks, they've lost their confidence to the point where they've lost their color. They weren't mean to Brandon anymore. They just
they didn't even have the energy to do it.
It's like Red Dragon. I love how Red Dragon no-sold the fact that they lost. We lost. I love.
Wait, I don't remember losing.
Wait, we lost. Yeah, so no, it's like. They're not on the same page right now, and that interview perfectly scripted that. And I just, it's like the Young Bucks are like every week. I think I'm like I can't be more of a fan, and then they do something like this where it's like super subtle. They've been over the top, and they was like super subtle, but they said so much in their actions, the look on their face, the clothes that they were wearing. They told a story with that, so I just thought that was amazing.
Yeah. And then, of course, after this is when we had the announcement of the Forbidden Door, which we've already covered. Then Butcher and Blade, Butcher versus Wardlow, which we covered as well. We had an Owen Hart Foundation men's tournament qualifying match between Jungle Boy, one half of the AEW World Tag Team Champions, and Kyle O'Reilly. And this was a pretty solid match, I would think. I think these guys had some good moments in this match. Felt maybe a little touch slower than I would have expected from these two, but it wasn't like sloppy or anything like that. They still did some great chain wrestling stuff in this, and actually what ended up happening was Kyle got a superplex on Jungle Boy and then proceeded to hit a modified brainbuster on it, then hit a jumping knee from the top rope, and he pins Jungle Boy, getting almost I would say the upset win, and he's qualified for the Owen Hart Foundation men's tournament. We got a Canadian in the mix. There you go, Kyle. Go nuts.
Yeah,
go nuts. And
no. As far as AEW storytelling, this was a huge upset. Jungle Boy doesn't get pinned, ever.
And then Christian came down, and Jungle Boy was apologizing to Christian for taking the loss.
Yeah, it was one of those things. I mean, to me, it reminded me of a G1. For those who are not familiar with the G1, sometimes in the G1, everyone has to lose. So sometimes you get unexpected losses. The other person is just better.
That's the good thing about these types of tournaments is that it makes it so much more easy to book upset losses.
Yeah, Kyle O'Reilly was just better than Jungle Boy last night. That's it. The next time they wrestle, Jungle Boy could win pretty easily. But on this night, on April 20th, in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Kyle O'Reilly was better that night. And, Kyle O'Reilly moves on. And I love that about the sudden death tournaments. It was one of the things that I fell in love with New Japan. It was like you're sitting there picking your G1 bracket, filling it out, saying who's going to win each night, trying to calculate your points, and then Yano beats Moxley.
Yeah, and you're like, sorry, what?
Say what? Yeah, Moxley's only lost one time, and it was to Yano.
Yeah, it was literally a St. Mary situation.
It's like, okay. And it's just like, and that's what I love about those tournaments. So it looks like they're setting, last night to me, set the standard. Because if you look at every Owen Hart qualification match up to this point, the guy that you thought was going to win won. The person you thought was going to win won. Not last night. No. I knew Jungle Boy was winning, and then he lost. And now you have a storyline for next year that he can be like,
if these two face off again.
Yeah. Like, or if he just wants to get in the tournament. I failed to get in the tournament last year. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get in the tournament next year. It builds upon itself. And he's a tag team champion. He probably didn't need to be in the tournament, but
exactly.
That is neither here nor there. They're building a nice little roster for this tournament, and I love to see what it's going to be and how it's going to be represented.
Yeah. We then had a backstage interview with MJF and Sean Spears after Wardlow got the win, and he continued to say about how he's a snake, which, I mean, like, bro, quit being a Punk stan at this point. You lost already. But he decided to make a deal with Mr. Jake the Snake Roberts and paid him in some good money. And then all of a sudden, Murder Hawk Monster Lance Archer comes out and just proceeds like, I don't want money. I just want to fight. Everybody dies. So now Wardlow's got to deal with Lance Archer. That'll be a good match.
Dude, this is what we're going to get up to. This is what we're going to get up to Double or Nothing. Wardlow just fighting bigger and scarier people. Sign me up.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I was like, it feels like Archer should be like a fourth week guy. I feel like you almost elevated too fast. You went from
little bit
Butcher to Archer, and it's like maybe Archer should have been week 3. But good Lord, congratulations to the people in Philadelphia. You get to see this just two impressively large men beat the shit out of each other next week.
Yeah. And then we had the Dynamite debut of Hook. Yes, finally. He faced off against Anthony Henry, made very much quick work of him. Danhausen, however, showed up out of nowhere, trying to curse Hook again. Didn't work. He got the red rum locked in and got the win. Danhausen was furious about, like, actually furious that, like, he's tried cursing him over and over and over again, and it's just nothing's happening. It's not working. So he said, if you don't want to be cursed by Danhausen, you will fight Danhausen. And this was one of the biggest pops of the night. Oh, my God.
Everybody was Hook, wondering when he was going to wrestle.
Yeah. And he's going to wrestle. And he wants to wrestle Hook. Woo! Hook pretty much like just shoulder blocked him out of the way, walked out, no respect to Danhausen. And, oh, my God.
Yeah, he barely acknowledged him. Other than
he fucking, yeah, it was like one of the first few times I've actually seen this kid smile.
Yeah, he just bumped.
He fucking smirked at him and was just like, and then just walked out.
I'm a big fan of the Danhausen character. I honestly, they're presenting him exactly like I thought they should present him. He is very much a comedic, hilarious character. This whole segment was, I don't know if you would call it subtle comedy, but it was just like, oh, Danhausen, the guy that has never fought anyone, wants to fight the pretty much unstoppable Hook, who literally throws men twice his size around. So, yeah, good luck with that, brother. Because it seemed like he realized he made a mistake like right after he did it. It was like it was just so well done. I just think he's so good. It's just like comedic timing 101 there.
Yeah. And then we move on. We had a backstage interview with Scorpio Sky and Frankie Kazarian. It was a backstage interview with Frankie, I believe. And then Scorpio comes out and we got a small little SCU reunion. And Scorpio says, listen, I need a favor. You've done so much for me in my career. You've really, you helped me so much when we got together with SCU. Like, you really elevated me. And he said, I know you want the TNT championship, but I need my rematch and I need to go out there and challenge for it. And I promise you, when I win it back, because Frankie was talking about how he wanted to go after the TNT title. He said, once I win it back, Frankie, you will be the first person I defended against. And Frankie kind of takes a little pause and says, Scorp, I've always had your back. I always will. And they shake hands and then they go off. And then this is when we move into the TNT champion, the only three-time TNT champion, Sammy Guevara out in the ring with Ty Conti.
Pause,
yes,
sir. The second three-time TNT champion, sir.
I don't know who the first is.
He's main events on Monday nights now.
I don't know what that is.
Cody Rhodes.
Okay, I don't know. Just I blanked. Sorry,
he
my
beat
apologies.
Lance Archer. He beat Brody Lee, and he beat Sammy Guevara, three-time champion.
Again, it wasn't in my head. I apologize.
I got you, boo. That's what I'm here for. That's what
it wasn't in my head. Wasn't in my head.
The first.
You sure it wasn't Dustin?
The first three-time champion.
It wasn't Dustin.
Huh?
It wasn't Dustin, right?
And Dustin's been on TV like 3 times in the last 3 years. What are you talking about? I mean, Cody's won more belts than Dustin's been on Dynamite. You know what I mean? No disrespect. No disrespect to Dustin. Oh, he's an amazing wrestler, but I'm just saying. He is not the first.
Oh, listen.
He's not even the first.
I am busting your balls so much.
He's not even the first to do the gimmick that he's doing right now.
Yes. But I am busting your balls.
I know. I knew you did it on purpose. I heard the tone.
Yeah. Sammy Guevara, 3-time TNT champion, says he's at the top of the world where he belongs. TNT champion for the 3rd time, and with Tay Conti, the love of his life. Oh. And he says, as far as he thanked the people who stuck with him, thanked the people that stay with him and followed him all his career. He said, as for the rest of you, I hear you. Y'all turned your backs on us the first chance you got because why? My girlfriend's hotter than yours? And at this point, you've only got one option. Be mad. And then Scorpio, Ethan Page, and Dan Lambert come out. And Sky's talk about, like, you want to say screw you to all the fans that supported you? It's not screw us, Sammy. It's screw you. Fucking Ethan Page went off. Got so, like, man, that man just fucking snapped. And
I've said this too many times. I think people sleep on how good Ethan Page is.
He's really good.
He is really fucking amazing at wrestling. It was at Squared Circle. I got to meet him for the first time, and we got to talk about my toy collection and how I inspired that. But I just dude, you're just an amazing wrestler. He's just an amazing wrestler, and it's just like when he was in Impact, I was like, why isn't he world champion? He's clearly the most talented person here. No disrespect to anyone there, but as far as in-ring work, mic skills, just getting into character and cutting promos, I don't think there's a lot of people as good as Ethan Page. And I think it might be like his humility that keeps him from maybe getting booked as strong as he could, because this dude is amazing. And I just thought, I've seen like 2 promos from him. The one after, he got his eye busted open. And I was just like, why are you not in a top spot? You are really amazing at this. And I thought this was great. And this was clearly a double turn. You know what I mean? Like, if last week, And into this week, Sammy's getting booed. Dan Lambert, the rich white conservative, is getting cheered. What?
Yeah. So fucking weird. So weird. Which, I mean, like, he kind of got a couple good pops when he was throwing shots at Brandy near the end, but, like, still, it's like, what? And, like, yeah, Lambert literally said, my grandfather said, youth is wasted on the young. You are the perfect example of that, Sammy. And you get to make one more chance tonight, young man. Give Sky his rematch, or I send Paige and Sky into the ring, and we'll give you a pounding that your girlfriend wishes that she could get. And I'm just like, okay. And Sammy was like, all right, we'll do that if we get a mixed tag match like we want. And Lambert's like, all right, done. And then Sammy goes, next week, me and Sky in a ladder match. That ending of that segment was so rushed that I was like completely like, huh, okay, we got 2 matches booked. When the fuck are these things happening in what shows? Like, huh? Like, yeah, it was rushed. And I was just like, fucking Sammy, you gotta, come on, man. Like, you gotta know when to hit something like that. You're selling a match for people to tune in the next week. You gotta sell that and make sure you give it the weight and the importance and, like, focus on it so people know. It was just like, I was like, man, like, that was like, I was just so thrown off, and I was just like so confused, and I genuinely, I don't want to say bad things, because I like Sammy and I like Ty. I think they're good people, but, like, I think he was too busy trying to stick his tongue down, like, Ty's throat before he even knew what the fuck his promo was supposed to be. Oh, did I lose you, man?
No, I was listening to you, and I'm like, I can't disagree. I want to. I can't.
Because I mean, like, it's that's probably the most out of pocket thing I've said. But dude, they kissed like what, 4 times in like 2 minutes? Like, for the love of God, man, you're there to sell a match. 2 matches, in fact. We got that mixed tag match that you say you so want. And we don't, like, you didn't even specify who was in the mixed tag match on their end. We know that it's Paige Van Zant, but you didn't even specify it for the people that didn't know. Like, that forgot the fact that, like, oh yeah, Paige Van Zant and Ty had the little interactions. You didn't even specify that. And I'm like, and then you're like, ladder match next week. And I'm like, huh? Like, fucking hell, man, you got to make sure you give that time. And I think you weren't fucking focused, because, like, you were like, how quickly can I get out of here into a hotel room?
And yeah, so I think something else in the show might have went long, and he thought he had a few more minutes.
Maybe.
And I think they played the music to, like, hey, you're done. And then he was able to throw those last few words. He's the voice of this act. And for a long time, Jericho was the voice. And it's going to be a work in progress. I think Sammy and Ty are a money heel act. I do. I think they are a money heel act.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not because of, now it's not because of anything, they really did as far as wrestling. It's honestly, it's because of the engagement and then being on public TV and then moving on with the next chick. People hate him for it, I don't know why. Life happens, that kind of thing. And I hold no ill will to him, but it's just people don't like him because of that. And yeah, and Ty's kind of catching it, because Ty, before they were together, she was super over the face. Remember when she wrestled Jade?
She was one of their most improved wrestlers.
Yeah, you remember when she wrestled Jade, how much everybody wanted her to win that match, and it's just like, now they're booing her, and it's just like, God, people suck.
Hey, man.
No,
wrestling fans are very reactionary.
Yeah, no. So I met Ty at I got to meet Ty again. We had to see Ty again at a Squared Circle. She actually got her to sign my figure. Be mad.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
I thought that was. I thought that was pretty cool. I like it that's their thing, And I think they can go further into it. I think we are just getting this is the tip of the iceberg on how douchey they're going to be. So if you think they're douchey now, they're going to turn it up. They are. They're people.
Oh, they're not going to. They're going to be nonstop.
No, and it's beautiful. I love it. I told her, I was like, what y'all doing is brilliant. You asked people to leave you alone. They didn't. Cool. Fine.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
It's great. Like I said, if that's what they were moving it, like I said the first time when I saw them like consistently on TV, where I was like, if you're moving into trying to do this is going to be great.
But
I was like,
to be so hateable that you make Dan Lambert, the most hateable man on the planet, a face, knows that means you did your job exceptionally well.
Damn straight, yeah. We then had a Owen Hart Women's Foundation Women's Tournament qualifying match between Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, the hometown girl of Britsburg, facing off against Danielle Carmella.
Yeah,
and the match itself was a match. Fucking Pat Freiermuth, tight end of the Steelers, and Najee Harris, the star rookie running back of the Steelers, showing up at ringside with Britt Baker. Fucking Najee was going. He was having a ball. Oh my God. Najee was losing his mind. I was like, holy shit, it's Najee Harris. I had him on my fantasy team.
Yeah, and Freiermuth, I was like, this is pretty cool. And they were waving the yellow flag, and then she did the what is it called? The lockjaw? What's the?
Yeah, it's the lockjaw.
Yeah, did that, and she had the Pittsburgh wide receiver glove on.
That was great. That was a great touch.
And just like, dude, if the next time Britt wins the title, it has to be in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
It just can't be anywhere else.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure she's going to be winning it as a face, because the promo she cut on Jade afterwards felt real face-ish.
Yeah, I mean a little bit. I mean, she was also she was struggling for breath. Honestly, she seemed like she got blown up. Got a little blown up. Yeah, I was gonna say it was just. But regardless, she's so.
Lack of a better word. Yeah, it's like.
Yeah, she just got blown up. That's all it was. But fans are still over the moon for her, and I was hoping they left the mic on when Najee got handed it. He's like, I got the mic now. I was just like, leave that motherfucking thing on. I want to see what the hell this kid says.
No, it's so funny because even when they put the belt on Thunder, and I was like, I'm all about Thunder Rosa. You know how much I love Thunder Rosa. I was like,
same.
I was like, Bridget feels too hot to lose the belt right now, and I still feel that way. She's the biggest star in the company right now, and it's just.
She said it. She said the women's division in this company is a disaster without her.
And it's. I can't say it's a disaster, but I can't say she's lying. She's the bitch, the baddest bitch on the block, as she says. That's a term she used, not me. I don't call women that. Just throwing that out there. No, that's what she is, and she proves it. And you look at the pop last night. It was literally Britt and then everybody else when it comes to pops. It was. She was the star of the show. It was like, I'm like, Punk was pretty loud on that initial pop, but I think
it literally goes Britt, then Danhausen announcing a match.
Oh yes, that was pretty awesome. I heard the crowd went I heard the crowd went a little crazy for the announcement of another match that we'll talk about later, but
yeah, and then they also went nuts for the New Japan announcement too. That was the other thing too, of course.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
I would have went pretty crazy for that one. It was
legitimately. And then we get to the main, but we'll get to the main event though real quick. Coffin match: Darby Allin versus Andrade El Idolo. The match opened up with Mark Quinn jumping in and Blade coming in, and the Andrade family office really started to use the numbers game on this no disqualification match. Darby thrown into the barricade and knocked into the crowd, and Mark Quinn proceeded to rip up a sign that a fan was holding. That fan had a Sting mask on. Sting mask comes off. Oh my God, it's Sting with a baseball cap backwards on his head too. And I was just like, they did it. They gave us a new 2022 edition of the Mask Sting meme. I was like, yes. Relive that meme, because that is the best. That is the best running joke with Sting. Him taking off a mask and it's just his face paint underneath it. So fucking funny. It is like one of my favorite things in wrestling because it's so stupid and I love it so much. And Sting beats the hell out of all the members of the Hardy family. I mean the Andrade family office. They're fighting in the crowd. They tried to mess up Darby, but then Andrade was Andrade and them were knocked back by Sting. Sting once again decides, I'm going to jump off of another fucking balcony again, and he cross-bodies onto everybody. Jesus Christ, man. Sting's going nuts in AEW. He's going nuts. Like, his run that he's having in AEW, unreal. Unreal how well he's done in AEW. The match itself, I think, was a little bit hindered, I think, probably by time. I know I heard one point where I could even hear the referee, like, letting them know how much time they had, especially towards the end, where I think they had, like, 90 seconds left. The coffin itself had thumbtacks placed on the back of it. That was a cool little touch. And listen, Andrade's great. He's really great, and I know he got a win over Darby like 2 weeks ago on Dynamite, and that was the thing that built towards this match. And then Darby was able to get the win. It's a coffin match. He's not losing a coffin match. It's his match. Jose even tried to come down to save everybody, and Darby slammed him on the thumbtacks lid. Yeah, I thought this was a good main event. Sting doing another dive. God fucking damn, every time he does it, it's just like, what the fuck, man? It's crazy that he's doing this shit at his age right now. But this was a solid closer, I think, for Dynamite.
Controversial opinion. Sting's outshining Darby.
At this point, here's the thing. Before, I would argue you before Darby and Sting, like, I think Darby had a really great stature of, like, still being at the same level of Sting and above. I think earlier on when they were together, I think, of course, in their tag matches, and when Sting would walk out and then Darby just throws himself like from the crowd, from the rampway up into somebody. I think there was a point where where Darby was either at Sting's level or above. In this match, Sting outshined him. In this match, I would say that still they're even or maybe a slight edge to Darby, but in this match, I agree with you. Sting outshined Darby. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's just, that's not good. Sting is there to put the rub on Darby, not vice versa. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't. It just felt like this match is over and Darby did some crazy shit and Andrade did some crazy shit. Only thing people were talking about was Sting jumping off the thing.
Yeah, and listen, again, I think for one match, because I still think for this, it was one match that people were talking about Sting more. And it's because we got the Sting meme with him taking the mask off and it's Sting again. And then we had him diving. Like, literally, Sting had the best spots in this match. Because even the spots with Jose being dropped on the thumbtacks, it could have been landed better. The best spots in this match were done by Sting. Like, that's and listen, I'm not all bent out of shape if Sting had better spots than Darby did in this one match. Because like I said, I still believe that throughout their entire pairing, it's been even with a slight edge to Darby. That's my opinion. And then there was the weird part where the Hardys came out just to say good job, which I know Darby has a huge respect and love for the Hardy Boys. But it was funny how they just literally came out just to do the delete chant and then applaud. I thought that was quite funny. They didn't need to have the Hardys. I know Darby likes the Hardys. I know you didn't need to. They could have at least came in the ring and pat him him on the back or something. Them just standing up the ramp and doing the delete motion was kind of odd.
I think we're gonna get the Hardys versus Darby and Sting.
That would still be fucking awesome. Yes,
I think that's what we're ultimately leading to. I think that's what it was kind of like. Hey, we respect you, but you can get these hands. You know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to that fight. I want to see because Darby's going to, of course, try to out-crazy Jeff, and Jeff's going to, try to match Darby's craziness. And then Sting's going to try to do something. And, yeah, it's going to be a lot of gifts coming out of that match when it happens.
Legitimately. And like I said, this one match, Sting absolutely outshined Darby. And, for one match, I'm okay with it. Now, if it's continuing where, Sting continues to just, be, the rub isn't going on Darby where, it should be because he's the one that's going to be here the longer in AEW, then you're going to have a bit of an issue. But for one match, I'm okay with it, honestly. And plus, again, they brought the meme back, which I love. And
anybody listening, could y'all let me know, has Darby ever been a heel? I don't know. I mean, I've only seen him presented as a face, but my first idea of him other than the documentary, I think it was on Vice, about Gabe and independent wrestling. My experience with him is AEW as a face, and I think even on that show he was a face. So I don't know, has he ever been a heel? If anybody could at AT Elite Pod, if you listen to the show, and let me know, has he ever been a heel? I know I could Google it, but let's get some fan interaction going on. And if I get a reply, I might hook you up with something.
All right, cool. And that was AEW Dynamite for this week. We're going to quickly go through the preview for Rampage that'll be airing today when you guys hear this episode. And then, of course, the few matches that we have announced for Dynamite for next week. Jade Cargill versus Marina Shafir for the TBS Championship will be taking place. We're going to get a match between Adam Cole and Tomohiro Ishii. I believe this is if I'm not mistaken, this is a match that will be it's going to be a Owen Hart Foundation. Owen Hart Foundation match, if I'm not mistaken. And then we're gonna have Daniel Garcia versus Eddie Kingston, Lance Archer versus Serpentico. We're going to have a quick interview with Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland, and an interview for the Women's Owen Cup as well. So that's Rampage for today. And correct me if I'm wrong, the Ishii and Cole match is a Owen Hart Foundation match, right? Am I correct in that, Floyd?
Oh, dude, I was talking. My elbow slipped on mute. I said way more words than I'm about to. I heard Tomohiro Ishii.
Yes, it is. It is an Owen Hart Foundation match.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It is a Owen Hart Foundation match, and I hear it was the match of the night. I heard it was amazing, and then I heard Garcia and Kingston both killed it too. So I heard good things about both of those matches from my friends that were in the building. As stuff just falls off of my wall and scares the shit out of me. Dude, I just jumped so hard.
Whoops.
I know.
Sorry about that. But of course, now listen, we're going to have for Dynamite next week, we have announced Lance Archer versus Wardlow, of course. The Undisputed Elite will be in a 5-on-5 tag team match between a lot of people, and I'm going to try to get...
It's the Varsity Blondes, Lee Moriarty, Brock is in it again, Brock Anderson, and Dante Martin. Dante. Darius may be hurt again because they've been doing a lot of just Dante.
Yeah, he might have gotten, which if he got hurt again, damn, that sucks. Honestly.
But yeah, that's the 5. I was trying to figure it out earlier. I was like, I know it's 5 guys, and the Varsity Blondes are 2, Brock is 1, and then, I just couldn't remember who the other 2 is. So those are the other 2.
Yeah, and then, of course, the big money match for Dynamite next week. FTR is clashing in the Owen Hart Foundation qualifying match. And, buddy, listen, I don't think Cash stands a chance because if it's an Owen Hart thing, if it's anything related to the Hart family, Dax is going to kill to win it.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you something, brother. Dax is just more vocal about his love for Brett. Cash, I would say, loves Brett just as much. Dax is very much more vocal. Dax, I've always said I like Dax because Dax is like me. When he loves, it's on his sleeve. he carries it around. He has a bar dedicated to it. That man loves Bret Hart. That man loves pro wrestling. He loves his family. Probably family first, then pro wrestling. Then the third would be Bret Hart, and he loves tequila. Dax, you know what Dax likes because he talks about what he likes and what he loves. And that's what I've always said I like about Dax is that he's me. We carry what we love on us. So, but Cash, oh my God, Cash is phenomenal. He's an amazing wrestler. I tell people, somebody's like, who you got? And I was like, I got both of them.
You want both of them in there.
Yeah, I love them equally. If they somehow can pin each other and then Tony says they're both in the tournament, I'll be fine with that. So I'll just be rooting for the match on that one. I put out, I told a message to JR while I was talking to him that Tony Khan seemingly hates and loves me at the same time. Because he gives me the AEW NJPW match. Well, he gives the world that. And then he says, hey, your two favorite people on earth are going to fight each other. Huh?
Yeah, that's going to be unreal. The only other
time I've been more conflicted is from when they jumped Cody. That was the only other time I've been this conflicted. So, I think it's going to be a phenomenal match. I think it will be one of those Dynamite match of the year candidates kind of thing. So, we'll see.
I'm expecting something on the levels of back when the CWC happened and we got Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa the first time when they were both baby faces and still in DIY. I'm expecting something like that.
I'm thinking Brett versus Owen WrestleMania 10 because...
Which, makes sense because you were alive when that happened and I wasn't.
Yes, and they are the two biggest Hart fans ever. And if they came out and did that match spot for spot, I wouldn't be shocked at all. they're
all right. Well, those are our.
That's why I love them. They're fans, and if you look at who I love in wrestling, all my favorites in wrestling grew up wrestling fans, and those are the people I root for because even though you might be from North Carolina or someone's from Scotland or grew up in the business, at some point we were just little kids looking up to our favorite guys, and that's something I can always identify with.
Yeah, absolutely. But those are our previews for Rampage this upcoming day and Dynamite for next week. We have one thing we are going to talk about in terms of headlines, I believe, and the main thing is the fact that Tony Khan did an interview with TV Insider, and the conversation on his Army of Bots tweets came up where he talked about AEW, anti-AEW accounts on Twitter being ran by just a few people, and the rest of them were just bots. And Tony has doubled down on those comments seemingly. I have his full quote from the question that he answered from TV Insider. I'll read the quote, and then I'll go to Floyd first on his comments. I know we've talked about this slightly in the past, but we'll go through it again since it has been a hot-button topic and a bit of a meme at this point. So Tony said, and I quote, "What I've seen was a lot of anti-AEW accounts that are really focused on the things they don't like. A lot of those are legitimate things. Some of those points I'm trying to address. Some of them I don't agree with. But the point is, a lot of these are the same people. There are a handful of accounts that are being run by a few people running a lot of accounts. Those are real people. A lot of their engagements, their retweets, likes, people responding, and signal boosting for what they are saying, those are bots. You've got a network of a few people with a lot of identities powered by a bunch of bots. I'm not making this up. I have hired IT experts that put together a much more sophisticated explanation than I am capable of giving. It's a real thing, or I wouldn't have brought it up. I have a pretty good reputation in this business for honesty." So with that quote being said, pass it on to Floyd on his seemingly doubling down of, yes, AEW, a lot of AEW hate accounts on Twitter are bots in Tony Khan's opinion.
And this is going to be something that I say about Tony Khan a lot. 110% believable. 110% believe it's true. 110% didn't need to be tweeted.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is. It's just, you just look like a man whining. No matter what. I like the information, right? I follow WrestleNomics. I read the reports on the ratings. I like the inner side of wrestling, right? I like it. And I believe them. That's great. But what purpose did this serve? Like, holy, what purpose did it serve?
Even if it was true, like, at this point, like, why does this need to be said? Like,
Exactly.
What does it matter?
What purpose does it serve? What goal is this? It was obviously weighing on him, and he felt like he needed to say it. But it feels like this is a phone conversation you have with Dave Meltzer, or it's somebody, inside the wrestling business, and you tell them some things just don't need to be said on Twitter. And like I said, I love who Tony is. I love how he is. I love that he says stuff that other people don't say. We get an inside glimpse into how a professional wrestling company is run in ways that we never have with Tony Khan as a leader. So if you're asking me, would I rather him be like this or completely shut off, I'm going to say be like this. And I will take the negatives that come with it. Because, like I said, I get a glimpse into what it takes to run a wrestling company. Not that I ever want to do that, but the person that loves the nerd in me likes to hear it. These things that you're breaking down, how you're deciding on cities, all that kind of stuff. So I do love that part. But on the other part, PR-wise, for people that don't care about this inside information, you just look like you're whining.
Yeah, and I'll wrap it up a little bit too. Like I said, the whole thing again just seems like something that I don't care. Like, and this isn't even talking just about people that hate AEW in general. This is about people that hate on AEW that tweet about it. Like, first off, we know, like, at the end of the day, people who tweet all the time are like a pretty heavy minority because, like, not everybody spends every waking moment on Twitter. Like, there are a lot of people that use Twitter, but not everybody uses every waking moment of their life on Twitter. So people that are always angry about AEW, it's not a massive majority. It's not a massive majority. In fact, it's probably a pretty – that's for any wrestling complainers, honestly. Like, if you complain about any wrestling company consistently – like, there's not a ton of people as fans that do that all the time. Like I said, I barely tweet. Like, I'll retweet a couple things and, like, tweet some things of my own. But, like, I barely tweet because I don't care. So the fact that Tony is so hung up on this, like, again, dude, like, honest to God, it's like I appreciate Tony for everything he's done for AEW and, like, the type of booker that he is, the type that you can tell that he's a fan. But, like, my man, you don't have to tweet fucking everything. Like, if anything, like, I would like you to, like, this reminds me of when he got into, like, the bicker contest with one of the Jacksonville Jaguars players, like, a couple years ago. I was just like, bro, get off of Twitter. Just get off. Like, I'm just saying, just get off for a minute. Like, tweet only things that you need to tweet. This is something you didn't need to tweet. Like, leave it alone. But
like I said,
even if it's true, why does this matter?
I'd rather him. I'm honest. I'd rather him be this way than the other way. It's like
I would be the same. I can agree with that as well. But again, like, at the same time, I would prefer it if you were the way they are and then didn't do this. Yeah. Because it muddies up the conversation about wrestling again.
And do the brilliant way, the brilliant PR way. Give all this information to a place like WrestleNomics and let them report it. Give the same
instead of it just coming from you.
Do you know how many times that the NFL, the NBA, all those things have information and it'll look weird coming from them, so they leak it and they let it come from somewhere else. And I just think that's the play here. When you have this information, give it to someone and then let them report it. And then you don't look like you just don't like criticism, because that's what it comes down to.
That's what it looks like. Yes.
Yeah, it looks like you don't like criticism. I love that he's giving all this information. I really do. And I honestly probably could have answered that. I always say the people that don't like AEW are a very vocal minority. You know what I mean? Most people, if they don't like something, they just don't watch it. The people that watch it every week just to say how much they don't like it is a very vocal minority. And it's just,
yes.
I mean, and because of AEW, because of any brand, there is always, in wrestling, there is going to be the people that started covering the show first, the podcast that popped up, the pundits that covered first, and generally the people that were first are going to, have their loyal fan base. But there's also another group that rises, the people that just are anti the company, and
just want to see it fail.
And they're going to have a fan base too, because a lot of people like to listen to that stuff. I mean, I have very intelligent friends that I love that listen to Jim Cornette every week.
Same.
And it's just like, and they listen because they find it entertaining when he goes off on stuff. And that, and it's
dude, I'm sure you've seen from my Twitter, my good friend Ryan, who is a Emmy award-winning broadcaster in local sports in the city of Flint, Michigan. Like, dude has done so much. He's been a wrestling fan for decades, and this dude hate watches AEW, and he hate watches it, and then he also has a vocal hatred for the AEW does nothing wrong crowd, and he takes it out on me, even though I actively have criticized AEW in the past, and he takes it out on me, and I'm just like, bro, like, I love you, but you're smarter than this. And then he'll also be like, well, I'll debate you on my podcast, and then doesn't invite me on his podcast when we're supposed to do it.
Yeah, because we're very open. And it was funny, it was one day, as long as I've been doing the show, which is 3 years, and it's called All Things Elite, and the logo looks kind of like AEW, I had the thought that some AEW wrestler has probably listened to my podcast. And I was like, our podcast. And I was like, I wonder if someone doesn't like me because of something I've said on this podcast. I was like, I don't think we're like super large, but just, just odds of what show is this?
148
show. Yeah, somebody from AEW has thrown it on and listened to what Floyd had to say about the company. And I am 95% positive, but when something sucks, I'll say it sucks. And it's just like, because I tend to be an honest person, and it's like, I'll play the game. I played the game with Cody, but yeah, it's just, I don't know. I just know this.
Yeah.
When you are a leader and you're in a leadership position, you do have to carry yourself like a leader. You don't get to be who you are all the time. And that's the situation. Tony is, the great thing about him is when you meet him and you see him or whatever, and a few times he's just nice and he's energetic and everything's there, and it's just like he has this personality about him. But sometimes he seems to be someone that can get a little hot, and he's like, you piss him off, he's gonna say something about it, and maybe that's something to work on.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's something he never has to work on.
And all I will say is that even though this has been a pretty bad look on Tony, it is still not as bad as when he went after Big Swole for pretty much no reason. I don't think anything will top that.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Yeah.
Regardless, I think that little thing will leave everything off, but that'll do it for this episode of All Things Elite, I think. So I want to thank you guys so much once again for tuning into the show every week. And again, please continue to download and share this fine podcast on Google or Apple Podcasts. Now, if you listen to us on Spotify or any other podcasting platforms, again, share us with your friends, family, coworkers, whoever you wish. You can leave a rating and a review. You can leave a donation through Red Circle. And you can follow us on social media. We are at AT Elite Pod on Twitter, at Social Suplex, are the guys that make this show possible. Please check out all the other podcasts they have on their network. I am at Austin Sumowicz, SZUMOWICZ. Floyd is at Floyd Johnson Jr. on Twitter. And I will go ahead and toss it over to my man Floyd to take us home on this episode of All Things Elite.
All right. Thank you for everyone that make sure they're listening and downloading the show and sharing it with their friends. We appreciate you, and it's been a great year, and I am looking forward to what we have going forward. And just remember, when it comes down to it, when it comes down to podcasts, why you choose this one, we are the only podcast that is at every AEW pay-per-view. Every big show they have, we're there. So just remember that. And to all of you out there, I hope you are all doing well as we move into the spring and the summer. Make sure you're getting out, getting some sun, taking care of your mental health. It is just a great time to kind of be alive as a wrestling fan, and I hope you're enjoying it and you're sharing it with as many people as you can. And with that, I'll leave you with, whether it is home, work, or school, always do your best to be elite.
Underdog Fantasy is the fastest growing fantasy app and easiest place to play fantasy sports. Just jump on UnderdogFantasy.com or download the app, draft your team, and that's it. And if drafts aren't your thing, they also have a pick'em game where you can win 20 times your money in a single night. Use promo code RADIO, and Underdog will double your first deposit when you sign up with up to $100 in bonus cash. Deposit $100, get $100 free. That's promo code RADIO. Terms and conditions apply.